In this video, we will be discussing percent grids and how do they compare to fraction decimal percent conversions. So we solve a percent grid to help us understand what a percentage actually looks like when you look at it in picture representation. So we start by counting the number of shaded boxes, start by counting the number of total boxes. So if you need to add in the word total there, do that. Total boxes, and that is the denominator. Then we count the number of shaded boxes, and that becomes the numerator. So just like you used to do in elementary school, the shaded boxes out of the total boxes will give you your fraction. Then we can write a fraction or a percent based on that information, and percents are always out of 100. So what does that mean? So let's look at our first example. So the question is, how many total parts are there? Well, if we look at this grid, we can count down the side and see, I'm not going to number these because it'll take a while. It's a 10 by 10 grid. So there's 10 on this side and there's 10 on this side. And so total, if you multiply those together, there's 100 parts. And if I count, there's 10 in each row. So this would be 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So there's 35 shaded parts. The fraction would be 35 out of 100. So 35 are shaded out of 100 total. And remember, we said percents are always out of 100. So automatically, I know this is going to be 35%. I don't even have to do any math. I can just look at the fraction. It says it's out of 100. That means it must be a percentage. So you go ahead and try the next one. So again, there's 100 total parts. How many shaded parts? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67 shaded parts. The fraction is 67 out of 100. So that automatically means it is 67%. You didn't even have to do any math. All right, so let's look at the next one. This one's a little bit different. How many total parts are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total parts. There are 4 that are shaded. The fraction is 4/5. Now, this is not out of 100, but I can do a equivalent fraction and make it out of 100. What do you need to multiply times 5 to turn it into a denominator of 100? Well, I multiply 20 by 5 to get to 100. But whatever I multiply on the bottom, I also have to multiply by on the top. 4 times 20 gives me 80, which is equivalent. It's the same thing because I did the same thing in the numerator as I did in the denominator, just like simplifying. And I get 80 out of 100, so automatically the percent is 80%. You try the next one. So there's 5 total parts again, 2 shaded, so I have the fraction 2/5. Make it out of a denominator of 100. I have to multiply 5 times 20. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. 2 times 20 gives me 40. So the percent is 40%. All right, let's look at the next page. So solve the following percent grids. So what I want you to try to do is I want you to try to answer these 6 questions, and when you're ready, I want you to unpause the video. If you're stuck, I want you to rewind and watch what I did on the other pages and then come back to this one. So my first one, I have 13 pieces over 50 total. That's the fraction. If I want to make the percent, I have to make a denominator of 100. 50 times 2 is 100, so 13 times 2 would be 26. So that gives me 26% is shaded. The next one, I have 27 shaded pieces out of 100, which gives me 27%. Fill in the grid to show 45%. Well, there are 100 pieces because this is a 10 by 10 grid. So if I make this a fraction out of 100, percents are always out of 100, so I can automatically put it over 100. I'm going to shade in 45. So 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 45. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for the next one, I have to do 8/10. The denominator needs to be 100. 10 times 10 is 100. 8 times 10 is 80. So I'm going to shade in 80 pieces. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So all that should be shaded in of your grid. And then the last two were about similar to the one above. The fraction of this one is 59 out of 100. And anything over 100 is automatically a percent. So this becomes 59%. And then the last one, it says fill in the grid to show 1/2. Well, half of the grid, there's 100 there. So that means I'm going to color in 5. I went too far. There you go. There's your answers to those. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your teacher.